GC Healthy Living, and I'm super excited to start some of these monthly calls and monthly chats just about nutrition. We're going to try to do 2 per month about different topics to kind of explore different areas about nutrition, lifestyle, all the things. So we are so excited to have you here to dive into our top tips when it comes to saving time for meal prepping tonight. And to kick things off, I want to go ahead and just have people put in the comment section what your biggest barrier is to meal prepping. So something that you find really challenging to staying on track with meal prepping. And we'll come back to all these at the end, but go ahead and just type in either something you really struggle with, or if there's a huge thing that you found successful, put that in there too. And I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Can all of you see that? Yes, no, maybe?
Yes.
Yes, awesome. Okay.
Yes.
Yes.
Perfect. So yeah, for those who have just joined us, welcome. And what I want to go ahead and do to kick things off is just have you chat or put in the chat either your biggest barrier to meal prepping that you have right now, or something that you found is super, super successful and helpful in terms of you staying on track. All right, and as we do that, I'm going to just go ahead and get started. So here at GC Healthy Living, we've partnered with Healthy Steps Nutrition to support our clients using a framework that's guided, tested, and proven. We believe that something as fundamental as nutrition shouldn't be complicated, which is why we focus on a simple habit-based approach. But we know that helping you become the healthiest version of yourself isn't just about what we eat or going to the gym for a few hours a week. There's a lot more to it. If you've ever noticed that your nutrition choices sometimes change when we're stressed or tired, we want to incorporate that and how we can manage that. So this is why we focus and we address a holistic approach to nutrition, stress management, sleep, mindset, support, and lifestyle. All right, so let's dive in. So we all know that meal prepping is a game changer when it comes to staying on track with your health goals, but let's be honest, while it sounds simple, it's far from easy. Have you ever had one of those days where you get home after a long work day only to realize that there's no food prepped and you forgot to defrost the chicken? Such a letdown. So suddenly the idea of cooking feels like a mountain to climb, and ordering takeout seems like the only option. But we all know that takeout doesn't always align with our health goals, and let's face it, it gets expensive really fast. Or maybe you've been there rushing out the door in the morning, skipping breakfast, skipping coffee at home. So you run through Starbucks because it feels faster and easier, but that's $10, $15 later. And that's just burning a hole in your wallet, along with all the packed sugar and fat that that's not going to set you up for success throughout the day. Now, what if we could create a plan that makes home cooked meals just as convenient as running through Starbucks? Sometimes even more convenient because you're not having to take the time to go through that. And by doing so, we can save money, fuel your body, and feel your best every day without all that added stress. So in today's talk, we're going to dive into 3 simple tips that are going to help you start meal prepping in ways that are going to save you money, time, and keep you on track to your health goals. So first, I want to go over the why. Why does meal prepping matter? So meal prepping helps you stick to your goals, it helps you save money, and it helps you reduce stress. It's the key to avoiding last-minute takeout and unhealthy food choices. And when you meal prep with a plan and a goal in mind, it can be done without feeling overwhelmed. So the goal of meal prepping is simple: to save time by having meals ready to go. We want to make healthy choices that are easy. Think of something as easy as like a grab and go option in the morning where you're not even having to cook. You just open the fridge, grab it, and you're on your way. This also saves all that money by avoiding takeout and expensive impulse buys and keeps meals simple so you can stay consistent and focus on your goals. So, our tip number one is to set aside time to plan. Making sure you have about 20 to 30 minutes per week to plan out your meals can be a catalyst to keeping this simple and saving you time. When starting new habits, it's essential to figure out a consistent day, a time to implement the new habit. Next, what we want to do is map out that habit. So we have our day, we have our time. Now, how are we going to stay successful with this? So imagine all of those little things you constantly forget to do. It's because we didn't map things out. Here's a broad overview of the steps to consider when mapping out your meal planning habits. So step one is deciding when you're going to plan. Step two, we're gathering those recipes, checking what we have in our pantry and our freezer. Step three, deciding which meals you're going to eat on which day. And step four is writing out your grocery list based on your meal plan that you've created and the ingredients that you already have. This planning part of the meal prepping is crucial for success. By planning, you are able to buy only what you need, which avoids waste and unnecessary purchases. It also means no more last-minute takeouts or drive-through stops. I like to keep my meal plan simple by planning one breakfast for the week, two dinners, and two lunch options. I even plan out when I'm going to be dining out and what I'm going to eat when I do order out. This helps make sure that I am not ordering everything off of the menu because my stomach is doing all of the thinking. To get the ball rolling for your meal prep, we have a bunch of really good options for simple meals within our HSN recipe database. So some of the top ones that are favorites are the egg roll in a bowl. This is paired with rice. It's 3 ingredients. It's packed with protein and veggies, which helps keep you fueled and full. The other two top favorites are the cheesy beef and broccoli bake, which is cooked in one dish and it's 2 veggies, which is fantastic to get in all those plants. And then another fan favorite is the sun-dried tomato pesto and turkey sausage. This you can add over rice or pasta, spaghetti squash, and have as a staple pasta dinner night. Um, Easy breakfast options that are always good go-tos and favorites are overnight oats. You can make this chocolate. You can make it with seasonal flavors. Really mix things up whatever way you want. And then egg muffins are another fantastic way to start the day out quick and easy, and meal prep those and have them in the freezer stash. And we can send the link to everyone, but if you go to the website HSN Healthy Recipes, we have a ton of these recipes available these are all created by Nicole, who's the dietitian and owner of Healthy Steps Nutrition. And they're easy, trusted. I mean, these ones have been on there for so long and she's always updating them. So there's so many good options to go to if you just don't know where to start. And when it comes to planning your grocery shopping, you will need to have an idea of what meals you want to be making. So utilizing sites like this can really help plan out everything that you need. So tip number 2 is to keep it simple. Stick with simple, nutritious meals with minimal ingredients. Um, did you know that research indicates that families often just rotate through about 12 to 20 meals? And rotating recipes and meals is a great way to keep it simple while having variety in your meals each week. This can be a great time for you and your family to come up with the meals and decide which ones we want to enjoy without having to be elaborate with every single dish. I know in my family we do specific nights, so we always have a pizza night, or we always have like certain things and staples in our dinners to just keep it easy so that we're not having to think. But we add a creative meal and we have some fun with certain meals when we know we're going to have a little bit more time. You are already making so many decisions each day and each week, so by keeping it simple, it can be much more enjoyable to decrease the stress when prepping. Simple meals reduce prep time and minimize decision fatigue. This can look like by using versatile ingredients, which can be used across different meals. We love to use eggs as they can be used in breakfast, as snacks, or on top of salads for extra protein. Cooking up some beans is a great one too. You can add those to chili, salads, tacos, soups, dips, wraps, so many different options, and they provide the energy boosting carbohydrates and satisfying fiber. Bell peppers are great. They can be spread out over all different styles of meals, stir fries, salads, fajitas, roasted dishes, and casseroles. And you're more likely to actually stay consistent with your meal prep when you're not feeling overwhelmed. Keeping things with fewer ingredients, there's also fewer chances of food spoilage. So tip number 3 is to cook in bulk. You've planned what you want to make for the week, so now we need to prepare the meals. And cooking in bulk is a great tool. So cooking in bulk means you spend less time in the kitchen, you'll always have meals on hand, and you won't need to cook every day. It's easier to portion meals and control your serving sizes, helping stick with your nutrition goals. Instead of making individual meals, think about batch cooking ingredients, just as grilled chicken, salmon, crock pot pork tenderloin for your proteins, pairing that with vegetables like roasted sheet pan veggies, roasting some broccoli or Brussels sprouts, or sauteing up some green beans. And don't forget to add in some whole grains, like using the rice cooker for rice or quinoa. And these are great ways to help batch cook, and then those will last several days and you can utilize them in different ways. Focus on recipes that store well and can be mixed and matched for variety. So bowls are always a great idea. Something simple such as a Mediterranean pasta taco or like a burger bowl is easy to just kind of throw different ingredients into. If you're wanting to be extra efficient with your time, consider pre-chopping your raw veggies for your salads or bowls. To help increase your fruit and vegetable intake, place them in the fridge where they're easy to see at eye level rather than hiding them in drawers. And finally, freeze portions for future meals to save even more time when things are too busy to prep. And a bonus tip is invest in good quality meal prep containers. Glass food containers are a great choice to ensure that you're reducing harmful chemicals like BPA, which can lead to leach into our food, especially when heated. Majority of our glass containers reheat really well in the microwave or even in the oven. So if there isn't a microwave around, you have an option to make up some hot food really quickly. Most glass containers are also dishwasher safe, making them easy to clean without worrying about buildup of oils or stains. Plus, they're less likely to retain the smells and residue from strong flavored foods, which holds in plastic containers. Glass food containers are a great investment for health, convenience, and sustainability, offering long-term benefit that plastic options just can't match. And in terms of kitchen gadgets, these can be really helpful to look into investing in, because kitchen gadgets can make prepping so much easier. So investing or dusting off your slow cooker or Instapot will help you simplify cooking, being able to prep your ingredients, adding them into the slow cooker, and letting the time do the work. This is also a great tip for doubling your recipes and making meals for later. So you can prep everything, freeze one option, throw one option in the slow cooker, and then you have dinner next week in the freezer that you just have to toss into the slow cooker, turn on, and you're ready to go. Other options, like using the air fryer, can really help making simple veggies really quickly. And lastly, investing in a manual chopper or a dicer can be a huge time saver. Being able to just chop up your foods, such as onions, bell peppers, apples, tomatoes, even potatoes, can truly decrease the time that you spend in the kitchen, along with the cleanup too. And it's great to just toss that into the dishwasher. Investing in some of these types of gadgets will help save time, but you can also plan based on what ones you own. So you could plan a meal to go into the crock pot while you have another one in the Instapot or on the stovetop. Next thing you know, you have all your gadgets going, the meal prep is decreased, and you have everything done so much faster. So remember the last time that you prepped and all the recipes went into the oven or you used one cutting board, it took forever. So utilizing the tools that you have can really help streamline the process. Meal prepping will change your routines, decreasing stress during the week, knowing that you have all these meals already ready. Instead of spending 30 minutes to an hour in the kitchen every evening, being able to spend 1 to 2 hours on the weekend to prep for your week can significantly decrease that time, which will allow you to focus more time on your health, fitness, and daily tasks. And of course, noticeable decrease in food spending and food waste. All right, so now we're ready to start meal prepping. So as we wrap things up, here's a few things that I want you to know. So try to get started this week with a small prep session and build from there. Small changes lead to big results, saving time and money to fuel your body. So start planning your meal prep today and watch the positive impact that it has on your lifestyle. And keep these tips in mind as you get started. So we want to plan ahead, we want to keep it simple, cook in bulk, and use some kitchen gadgets. Now, some frequently asked questions that we get is how do I store meal prep properly? So, storing your meals in airtight containers to help food stay fresh longer and avoid spills. Write the date on containers to keep track of freshness, ensuring that you eat the oldest meals first. Typically, most prep meals last about 3 to 4 days in the fridge. Items like salads or roasted vegetables may have a shorter shelf life. And for salads or bowls, store the wet and dry ingredients separately to avoid sogginess. Another question, how do I stay motivated to meal prep regularly? So we want to set a routine and adjust needed based on your lifestyle, travel, and season of the year. Prepping once a week at a set time can become a habit. Even if it's a Tuesday afternoon or evening, staying consistent and scheduling it in can be beneficial to maintain this habit. Turn meal prep into fun group activity and make it feel less like a chore. Involve your family or friends, invite them over to help make meal prep together or make it more enjoyable. And finally, try new recipes, challenge yourself with different cuisines to keep things fresh and exciting. Some of our clients like to listen to audiobooks or podcasts while they prep. Other families get involved, have their whole family get involved, and they play songs or have dance parties while they do it. And these are great ways to just kind of take the stress off of meal prepping and make it a fun activity, and sometimes just get in extra movement while you're doing it too. So now that we've talked about our top tips in saving time with meal prepping, we want to focus on our three main HSN core principles, which are focusing on whole foods first, focus on balance of macronutrients, and limiting the number of processed carbs and sugar. These core principles have helped over 45,000 clients worldwide with their health, increasing their performance and reaching their health and wellness goals. And at the end of each day, we know it's not mostly about knowledge and education, it's about having that support and accountability. So as we wrap up, we're going to take it to the chat and answer some questions, but I want you to take a moment and really think about some things that we've talked about with meal prepping and what you can take away to get started yourself with this. And before we go there, I wanted to share too, just if you struggle with even the thought of how to get started with meal prepping into your own like daily routine, having one of us here at GC Healthy Living help you with it can really be a game changer. I know I have some clients that it's really not even about weight loss. It's about just staying accountable and making sure that we are staying consistent. And that really helps them. So we're simply working on just building our consistency in our meal prep. And that's gone so far with just taking out the stress of some of my clients' days. So if you struggle with meeting your health goals or you just want some extra tips or tricks, reach out to either myself, Kristen, Kim, Eddie. We can all help you get started. And now we'll just open it up for some questions. I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing. And then we'll go to the chat to kind of look at some of the things. Immersion blender. Yes, that can be really, really helpful. in different things. And I'd love to hear what other tools that you guys use. I really like the chopper. We use the chopper all the time. We use the slow cooker. Um, One thing that we've done that helps a ton with meal prepping is we have one of the Traeger flat tops and we cook all of our protein on it. We could do all breakfast on it. So it makes it really easy to just cook everything in once versus having to do it all in the kitchen. So basket style air fryer, yeah, that's fantastic. And you don't have to be like status quo with how people meal prep. I know a lot of people like to do their grocery shopping on Saturday, meal prep on a Sunday. I've recently switched to doing all my grocery shopping or kind of going through list of coupons and things on Thursday. And then I go grocery shopping on Friday most of the weeks. And then we can prep. It's a lot easier to just kind of be flexible with prepping our meals over the weekend when we have more time instead of, trying to jam it all in on a Sunday. So I struggle with eating sweets. So that's something that what I would recommend is not necessarily trying to take everything out and eat perfectly, but seeing how we can include more whole food based sweets so that you can still enjoy some of your favorite things but not get bogged down with them. For example, in my kids' meals, sometimes for their lunches at school, I throw in a cookie or I throw in a treat. That way they still get that enjoyability, but it's not letting them hyper focus on the treat. They're focusing on a balanced meal with a little bit of enjoyment. And you can do that in your own meal prep too. So I started eating a lot of yogurt when I'm craving for sweets. That's a great idea too. You do want to be mindful of sugar in your yogurts, but if you take like a plain Greek yogurt or Icelandic yogurt, add in some chia seeds, some good quality granola, some fruit, nuts or seeds. Now we have like a really good nutrient dense meal that's going to keep us full. How long does meal prep last in the fridge? So most meals last between 3 and 4 days. Some can last a little bit longer, but to just kind of keep a baseline, most meals are going to go 3 to 4 days in the fridge. What other questions do we have? I know something too that helps keep my life easy is thinking about the week ahead and what we have going on and how we're going to work with that. Sometimes it's utilizing some ready-made foods. We really like the mush oatmeal, so when it's on sale, I grab some of it or buying the single pack like yogurt. So that way you can just grab a yogurt and grab some things on the go. So you're not even having to think about some of the things versus setting everything up. And then what I do to make my mornings easy, because I'm getting 3 kids' meals ready, I'm getting myself ready to get out the door, is I lay out as much as I can the night before. So I have the baby's bottles already set up in the fridge. I have his meal prep ready to go. I get their lunch pails all lined up. All the boys' snacks are already in their backpack. Their meals are ready to go in the refrigerator. So in the morning, I can literally just grab things out, put them in their backpacks and their lunch pails, and then we're on our way. I even set up the coffee machine the night before because it just makes it where I can turn on the coffee machine, grab my stuff, and I don't have to think about rushing to try to make breakfast or anything in the morning. It's just grabbing it, setting it, and going. And it takes the stress out of the mornings. It allows us to have more family time in the mornings. It just be calmer. Honey or maple syrup, which one's better? Both are great options. It depends on what you prefer. The big thing with honey and maple syrup and other sugars or sweeteners is you want to just make sure you're measuring it out because sugar is sugar, but those are fantastic options. I use both of them in a lot of my cooking. Plastic containers in the fridge, how do you store? However, when heating, I heat it in glass. So yeah, if you use plastic, I try to always just make sure that it's BPA free. But you can still utilize those options and then just being mindful of how we're heating them up. But still, if you have those, great. If you, slowly transitioning over to glass is also a great option. I keep frozen salmon, fish, chicken at all times. I can put them in the air fryer and eat whenever. Those are wonderful. We do the same thing. I use freezer meals. I use freezer vegetables too. Also boil a lot of carrots at the beginning of the week. Treats for my dogs, and a lot quicker to cook when I want to add to a meal. Yeah, those are fantastic options. Portion control is a big issue for me. So if you're having a hard time with portion control, portion them out at the beginning of the week. That can really be beneficial. So that way you grab your portion out and you're not having to think about it. Close the fridge when you're done. Sometimes when we have everything in front of us, we don't slow down to like let our stomachs catch up because we have our eyes are a little bit bigger than our stomachs. So if you like even for dinner, if you plate and then go to the table versus bringing the food to the table, you're less likely to overeat because you're not having all the options for seconds and all these things and you're slowing things down. So try to set things out in a like pre-portioned containers ahead of time, and you can utilize the plate method, or if you don't want to like weigh everything out, you can use like the palm method. So about the palm of your hand is a good option for protein sources. Your thumb size is a good source for like fats and oils, things like that. Um, so those are easy ways to kind of keep in decent portion sizes, and obviously that changes on the individual, but if you're just going for like a basic, that's a great tool. And we can always send these materials too because we have handouts with this. I always drink water before eating a meal. That makes you fuller. That's a good option too. Um, some people, we want to space that out, but just getting enough hydration too can really help satisfy you. Sometimes if we're not hydrated properly, that leads to extra hunger. So everything in the store now is labeled with how much protein they have in it. What is the other thing to look for to ensure we're getting a good option? Often a lot of sugar or high carbs. How do you determine if it's a good option? So, when you look at reading food labels, so you pick something up, the first thing I always want to do is skip all the marketing, turn it around and look at the ingredients. If you can pronounce most of the ingredients, you're in a good place. And then the if there's a ton of ingredients, we want to be mindful of it. The lower amount of ingredients, the better. And again, being able to pronounce all of them is a good start. And then we scroll up to like the nutrition label where it says the calories, the serving size, all of those details. The key things I like to look for is one, if it's what looks like a single serving container, make sure it actually is. Because a lot of the times you'll pick up a package and it'll say 2 servings or 1.5 servings. And we're not even really thinking about that. We're just thinking of it as a single serving. So just kind of be mindful of that. Protein is a fantastic option. Looking at the sugar, the total sugar and the added sugar. So what are they putting in sugar wise? And then fiber. I really, really like to look at fiber and make sure that we're getting enough in. So protein for your total meal, I like to stay around 20 to 30 grams at a minimum. Fiber, I like to have at least 5 to 7 grams if possible per meal. And then sugar, we want to just be mindful of the added sugar, utilizing more whole food sugar. So fruits, things that we're going to get naturally, those are good quality. We don't need to count that sugar into our diet. But looking at our added sugar and what we're putting in, we want to stay below about 25 grams per day. Um, Shopping the perimeter of the store is a great option. You're going to get really good, more whole food based options that way. But there are still some good options in between the stores, like canned foods. If you're looking at cans, we want to look at lower sodium, things like that, but they can be really good. The beans, the whole grains, those can be good options that we find internally in the middle of the store. What are good options of fiber besides vegetables? Chia seeds is one of my favorite. Nuts, seeds, legumes, those are all really good in fiber. Chickpeas are fantastic. Whole grains. There's certain pastas like red lentil pasta, chickpea pasta. They have great fiber sources in them now too. Fruits, berries, raspberries, blackberries are super, super high in fiber. So many different options that we can do. What other questions do we have? If you guys feel like you want handouts on some of these things, we have a ton that we can share with you for like how to read a nutrition label and understand it and know what you should really be mindful of, or what are some good fiber options and how we can make sure that we're utilizing those. The plate method or using the hand portion guides. We have all these tools, so we can definitely send them your way. Any other questions? These are all fantastic questions that we've had tonight. Well, if you have any questions that you didn't feel like you got answered tonight and you're struggling with meal prep, feel free to email us or reach out in the clinic when we're there so that we can help you get started with meal prepping, but just start simple. You don't have to be perfect, even if that's just starting meal prepping your breakfast. That can be a really great tool to setting yourself up with success throughout your week. But if you don't have any questions, we can leave it there. And then not next Tuesday, but the Tuesday after, we are doing another talk on hormones and some other things. So I look forward to seeing you guys on that call.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.